Shay going with What's the Word, and I'm with Daya Day. How are you doing?
Hi.
Okay, so if you weren't making music, what would you be doing?
I wasn't making music. I would probably either be pursuing a career in childcare or
Okay.
finance.
You like working with kids?
I do like working with kids, yes. I worked with them for about 6, 7 years, working for the YMCA.
Okay.
So,
Like, would you want to be like a teacher?
probably not a teacher, maybe some type of like instructor. Maybe it was like maybe a music teacher or art class, something along those lines.
Move something? Yeah, it's very slight because I'm a teacher and yeah, it's a lot.
Nice.
So I know that you wrote poetry. Who was your favorite poet?
Honestly, I don't have a favorite poet. I know that one of the artists that I have been following, her name's Rupi.
Mhm.
Have you heard of her?
No.
Um, I don't even think I'm pronouncing her name right, but I like her style of poetry, but I don't have a particular poet that has inspired me per se.
Yeah. You said Ruby?
It's I think it's called her name is Rupi.
I'm definitely going to check her out because I love poetry.
Yeah, Rupi Kaur. She's
Okay.
a poet and illustrator.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna check her out.
Yeah.
If you had to choose another genre of music to make, what genre and why?
I would probably try like indie,
Indie?
alternative,
Mm.
indie alternative. I'm a huge fan of like rock, and I feel like I also like kind of like the Latin pop, and I feel like just kind of merging those two together, I feel like I could do some magic with that.
Good. I'll be
So, yeah.
fired. You
Hmm.
definitely should. Because your music is so chill. It's very soothing. I love it so much.
Thank you.
So like I mentioned, like you used to write poetry. I want to know the transition from writing poems to songs. Was it difficult, doing that? And did some of your poems ever turn into songs?
Yes, so that's kind of where it started for me. Like I would start off with just writing a poem, or if something came to me, I would write it down on paper, and then I'll come back to it. And most of the time, I write about what I'm feeling in that moment or in that time that I'm in. Um, and it's kind of a process because I'll start this song and it'll either start off with like a piece of like a sentence or a poem that I wrote or just how I'm feeling. And then I'll leave it and then I'll come back to it and then I'll leave it. Sometimes I do like to find either like a beat
Mhm.
or a melody that inspires me and then I'll write to it. But I'd say about 90% of the time I write the song with the hopes I'll find a melody or beat that aligns and meshes well with it.
Yeah. I love your beats, and I'm going to get into that later because I'm like, I've never heard of anything like this.
Thank you.
I love that. In 2020, you released your own music after doing covers on YouTube. What inspired you to put out your own music?
I got a lot of really good feedback when I was starting to post on YouTube, and a lot of people were just like friends and family. They're like, when are you gonna release your own stuff? And I had wrote poems and I write pretend songs. When you're younger, you just writing just right away. And it just wasn't until I had met a friend of mine in college who was into actually digital illustration. So he would make like cartoons. And he had asked me, he was like, you have a really good voice. You'd be really great at doing this voiceover on my cartoon. Like, would you hop on? And I was like, well, sure. Like, I'll do it. So I did it. And then he was like asking me, he's like, so I know that you like to sing. Like, have you ever considered it? And I was like, well, I don't even know where to start. And he kind of gave me that push because he showed me how to use the equipment. He showed me how to record. And I was like, okay, I think I can start making my own music.
Got it.
So that's kind of where it blossomed.
Shout out to him. He's a real one for sure. And you said you went to college. So like, what college did you go to?
Yeah, I went to Texas State University. Yeah, and I got my business management degree from there.
I went to Texas State literally for one semester, 2018. I did not like
Mhm.
it, but shout out to the Bobcats.
Yes, no. it seriously is one of those like schools that you just have to, you gotta like be really determined not to let the distractions get a hold of you.
It's a great school though. It's a great school. I don't know, but shout out to the Bobcats. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so now you've been doing this since you were a child. You were in theater, choir, dance. Can you talk about being that talented and um just doing that in your adolescence? How did that shape you into the artist you are today?
Yeah, I really feel like it did a lot. It did a number. I think as a young child, my parents were they're always upfront with me and they just tell me all the time how energetic I was and just kind of just like the star child per se. And they wanted me to have like a healthy outlet. So then they put me into choir and musical theaters. I feel that it helped me along my way to get me where I am today, just because it pushed me out of my comfort zone. I gained a lot of confidence being in front of a crowd, but also being self-assured and grounded about who I am as a person. It allowed me to just be myself. And I think that's so important when it comes to writing music. Like you just want to show up as your most authentic self. And all of that really just shaped me into the person that I am today. And I think I'm really thankful for it too, because it's a healthy and creative outlet that I was able to, pursue.
Would you ever do theater? Would you ever get into acting? Like, are you interested?
Oh yeah, I want to so bad. I talk about it all the time, but it's like in the Austin scene, I just don't know where to start. But I would have loved, I feel like back to that very first question you had asked me, like what I would be doing if I wasn't a singer. I think had I known my love for like Broadway and musical, I would have definitely probably gone that route. Like I love musicals and I love plays, so I definitely feel like I would have probably pursued a career in that as well.
What's your favorite musical?
Oh man, it's either Chicago,
Okay.
Moulin Rouge,
Okay.
and then I also like oh, what's that other one? It's I can't remember the name of that one.
Is
Oh
that
my gosh. Just
is,
drew a blank.
isn't Hamilton like a musical or something like that?
Yeah, Hamilton's a musical and Romeo and Juliet, but it's like not it's the new one with the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Then okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say High School Musical, but that
Yeah. That one's too good. That one's good too.
you gotta go to New York to really like. I feel like to really do Broadway. But that would be so fun. You definitely should do it. You definitely should do it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you say that you like creating music that you enjoy rather than creating music that you think the audience would want to listen to. Can you
Mhm.
elaborate on that statement? How do you determine what exactly is the type of music you want, not only for yourself to hear, but for the audience to hear?
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good question because it's like, how would you know exactly? But I feel like as an artist, when you're writing and you're creating,
Mhm.
you start to fall into this like little hole where you want to stay in your niche to cater. So like for example, R&B, I feel like R&B is very soulful. It's very sultry. You can go all kinds of directions with R&B. Most of the time it's talking about love and it's talking about heartbreak. Rarely do you ever hear like anything too crazy, like too sexual, but I know that I wanted to stick to talking about love because that's kind of where I'm currently in life. As my project before, I was talking about heartbreak, and I I assumed that when it came to the R&B beats, most people wanted to hear like the traps and the trap type beat, and they wanted to hear like the I don't know how to explain it, but that was like my assumption more so. I think that was like pressures I was putting on myself. So versus me finding a melody or a song and just creating it because I think it's gonna sound good versus me thinking, well, no one else is gonna think that sounds good. So just kind of like tuning out what I think other people would want or think. And I feel like when you do that, it prevents you from holding yourself back completely.
Yeah. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of allows you to be a little more creative instead of just sticking to one particular sound that people like. So I love that. I love that you said
Yeah.
that. No, so I know that you stated that your favorite artists are SZA, Ariana Grande, Aaliyah. What is it about those
Mhm.
artists that gravitated towards you?
I think it's their voice. It's definitely their voice. It's their style. It's their style of vocals. So, like for example, SZA, I mean, she's got a very like nasally sound, but she's also got a very pretty like deep, sultry voice as well. Ariana, she's very high pitched. She hits those high notes. But when it comes to her harmonies, oh man, that girl can like stack them. They sound so beautiful. And the way that she places all of her music, it's you can tell that she took her time. And then Aaliyah, I mean, classic. I mean, there's no getting around that woman. Her writing, her singing, just so beautiful, very different, unique in that time too.
And I hear just little its and bits of their music and your music. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love those artists as well. And it just sounds so amazing. So I feel like your music is very subtle, it's very warm, it's very just, we can really hear your voice. Like nothing's really tuning it out. It's just very, just so pretty. That's the nice word, very pretty. So
Thank you.
that. I know that everyone makes music different. Can you walk me through your making music process, like creatively, like when you go into the studio or when you have an idea for a song, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, like I will use Summer Moon as an example. So it's one of my favorite songs off of my EP that I released last summer. So for that song specifically, I do recall that it started off with a moment. That's the best way I can start with it is I was on the beach with my now fiance and we were just having a really amazing time. We were having some drinks and watching the sunset and jumping in and out of the water and it was just one of those moments where like time kind of stopped and you were just so wrapped up in love and just feeling safe and warm and cozy. And so, so it starts there, and then I'll sit down and, I won't have the intention of writing about that moment, but it'll just come to me. Like today, I'm like, I feel like writing about a happy song. And so I'll start off with, maybe the first two lines of like, what do I want this topic to be about? And I'll say, I want it to be about love. Okay, what about love? Because love is so broad. What about it? Is it a place? Is it a person? Is it a thing? Is it a feeling? And for me, it was more of like a place and a feeling. And so then I draw on what am I going to use that as? Like, what am I going to use as my muse, which I used our trip to the beach. And so I do remember the most prettiest part about that time was the moon. And, it was just the beginning of summer and we were on the beach and we were hanging out and it was just super big and bright. And, that's kind of where it all starts to blossom and expand. And then when it comes down to writing, I like to start off with the first verse of the song. And then from there, I will kind of respond to the first verse into the second verse. And then I'll start to place my hooks and then all my other run-ons and my stacks and doubling the vocals and all the harmonies.
So you really have like a way to do it because I know some artists they'll just go on freestyle and
Yeah.
you have, okay, I love that. I know everyone's different, so I love to hear that. And it sounds like too, like your music is, of course, like music is based off experience. So whatever you're feeling, especially at the time with I love the summer moon and just your story for that song. So I love
Mhm.
that. I love that. So I think all artists should document their, their albums, their EPs, and their album journey. I would love to see that more, just to see like where it started to, where it's going and when it is time to release. You dropped your recent project, I Love You Somewhat, well, ILYSM, which I'm assuming
I love you so much. Yeah.
EP, which you dropped last year. What inspired that EP? Was it because you were in love and you wasn't in love and things like that?
Yeah, that's really what it was. I was really, I mean, I still am, thankfully, but I was just really in a place in my life where I don't think I had ever really truly been before, and that was a place of love, of happiness, safety, feeling secure, really just finding myself again after, leaving a very long, long relationship that was extremely toxic. I definitely lost myself in that relationship. That relationship, also pushed me into my music career because I needed a healthy outlet. I needed something that was mine, and I needed something that no one could take away from me. And so I really leaned on making music, listening to music, making beats, writing during that time. And then when I moved out of that relationship, I met my now fiance, and you know, I just noticed that my writing changed, my feelings changed, the beats that I wanted to listen to, the melodies, they all changed because I'm vibrating at a such higher frequency now because I'm so much happier. But that's what this most recent EP was inspired by, is about my current, love life and where I'm at in life too.
Love that. I can feel it in the music. Like I really can. I love
Mhm.
that. Like I was saying earlier, I love a good beat, and your beats are literally like no other. Like I feel like I hear like a harp sometimes in there. I don't know, maybe like it's so beautiful, and then like a saxophone. I was just like, I've never heard these two together. So I hear so many sounds, but it's put together all very beautifully. Can you walk me through finding the perfect beats for your songs?
Yes. I feel like when it comes down to finding the perfect beat, I really love I like the earthy sounds, like the very ethereal, ambient.
Mhm,
I still like the R&B where you're gonna hear a lot of like the bass,
mhm,
and the slower tempos in the beats.
mhm.
And then I also am a huge fan of like the piano and violin. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, what I'm listening to, and also how it makes me feel. So I'm a very I would say my soul is just very, very calm, very just like very leveled. And so those type of beats is what I usually gravitate to. But don't get me wrong, I love a good pop beat, I like a good fast-paced beat. But that's just kind of where my ears like. They like the slow, ambient, and ethereal R&B sound.
And they're so pretty. Like I've never heard like the saxophone with the harp. I was literally blown away. I was like, playing, I'm like, oh my gosh, it sounds so amazing. So okay, so what would you say is different from the artist you were when you first dropped your first song to the artist you are now?
I feel like the artist I was first before I dropped this project was I I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like the person I was before, I would say they were just so much more testing the waters.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to see. I would listen to beats and I'm like, oh, that sounds really pretty. And if you've ever gone to listen to my first EP, Bittersweet, you would hear that most of the songs in that project are also very slow. So I think I've always just gravitated to that vibe. But the beats are a lot more. I would say they're a lot like maybe trap and rap R&B infused versus this project is a little bit more, ambient, has a little bit more instrumentals. And I think that's a lot about growth as
Yeah.
well, because I was still testing the waters and wasn't sure what I liked, but I knew I liked those sounds. And then once I've grown and I've gotten to experience and, just kind of developed my sound myself, I've noticed that I really like more of the instrumental aspect versus just the tracks.
Yeah.
And so that's where I feel like it's evolved.
And you can hear it in your music too, like from your first project to now. Like, of course, we grow and evolve, but it's just, you can just hear it and just being like consistent and, just working on it every day, you really will hear it in the music. And I do hear it and it sounds great.
Thank you.
From your first project to your current project, like I said, I noticed the growth in your music.
hmm
But you're in your voice as well. What are you doing as an artist to continue to improve and sharpen your skills?
So that's a good question. I would say it's every single day I try to write a song. I try to keep, whether I'm going to use it or not, I'll try to write a song. I listen to melodies every single day. I also try to get inspired as well by, following artists that already inspire me, and just kind of seeing what they do. But as far as like my voice too, I sing every day. There's not a day that I don't sing. And I also try to push my limits. So like if I'm here at the house by myself, I'll try to sing a song that I know that vocally is a little bit hard for me. And I'll just give it a shot and I'll just push for it. Because I can hit those high notes, but I would prefer to stay in like the lower tones. That's just where I feel like my voice blossoms more. So I think it's just a lot of, vocal practice, writing, following people that inspire me to keep me creative, and then also just a lot of self-care. Water and not drinking so heavily and just, not no smoking, just keep my vocals nice and strong.
Good, that's great. I love to hear that. So I want to backtrack a little. When you was in college,
Mhm.
was you pursuing music around that time? Was you, doing maybe, I know colleges they have like talent shows and things like that. Was you doing different things like that, or were you just strictly just about your books and just trying to graduate and things like that?
No, that's actually where it also started too. I didn't pursue, I met my friend in college, and so that's where I began to pursue that passion in music. And it started off with my YouTube videos, and then eventually I was like, I want to venture out and just put out a song and see how it goes. And so I just went online, found an engineer here in Austin, and I hopped into his studio, and from there it was history, and I just kept making music since then.
That's good. I love to hear that. So now we're going to play this game called Explain the Lyrics. So I'm going to read just two songs, just for time's sake. I don't want to keep you too long. Um,
Yeah.
and I just wanted you to explain what you meant by those lyrics. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll admit it was a little scary, not knowing if you feel the same way too, but I won't fight no more. Yes, please.
Yeah. So I think that's from Honey. And it's really just about, so I love you so much. You have to listen to it with the mindset of you're this person who has just met somebody and you're entering this new relationship. And so the honey is like the intro of that relationship. It's the beginning. And it's basically like I met this person. I wasn't really certain that this person felt the same way about me, but I knew I felt very strongly about them. And I decided in that moment to confess to them how I really felt and was just because I just couldn't fight anymore. I'm just like, this is how I feel. So basically, like, I shoot my shot and I was like, this is how I feel. I hope you feel the same way too. Because if not, it's really gonna suck. And and that's just kind of how it blossomed. And the song I named it Honey because do you like honey?
I do like honey. Yes.
Okay, so honey is sweet, but it's also sticky.
Yes.
And it's interesting too because it's like something that's so sweet, you can talk about love, friendships, relationships, whatever. Something that's so sweet can also just be so messy. And
Hmm.
you're just not sure. It's gonna go one or two ways. It's gonna get cleaned up nicely, or it's just gonna be a hot mess. So honey kind of that's how I got its name and but it's just about the beginnings of meeting somebody and confessing your love.
So that girl, I feel that. Okay, so the second song, because he promised he would change, but he's still acting the same. Let his anger take the stage. I'm not living like this. No, I'm not living like this way. I'm not living like this.
Yes. So that one is Let Him Go, and that was my exit song from my last relationship because I was like, I'm done with this fool. Like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Not
But, huh? Yeah, hasta la vista. I'm out of here. But that song was very empowering for me because I just kept getting stuck in that relationship. I just didn't have the strength, I didn't have the confidence to leave, knowing that he had given me all the signs to say go. And yet I still stayed behind for lots of reasons, but one of them was just hoping that things would change. I mean, we were high school sweethearts. So, just hoping that, maybe with age and maturity, things would be better, but it just never did. And so that line is basically he would let his anger be the spotlight and the highlight of our relationship. And that is what really ruined everything for us because he just didn't know how to regulate that. And I eventually at some point was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I don't want to have to be put through this shit anymore. Like, I have so much more in life that I want to pursue and I deserve better. And so that was just my way of saying it's time to go and we're done.
Love that song, by the way. Love it.
Thank you.
So my last question, can you share what you have coming up next?
Yes, so I have a new single coming out. It's called The Right Time. I might change the name, but right now I think that's it. This kind of still is in the spectrum of like love. And so it's still talking about love because that's where I'm in. I think I'm in that era forever. And so I just finished the song yesterday, and so I'm kind of working on a release plan, a video, some content. And then I do have some plans and goals to release another EP project. I don't foresee that being released maybe until the new year, just depending on how fast I can get these songs done, but I definitely want them to happen organically. So, but yeah, that's what I have so far. I don't have any shows coming up just yet. And really, I'm just going to be focusing on, I have a wedding that I'm planning right now. So, so I'm working on that and new music. And also networking, making new friends. But that's it.
Do you have a release date for the song? Or
I want to release it by the end of July. So that's the goal.
okay,
But I want to also give myself time to make the content that I need and also promote it.
okay. Oh my gosh, it's super exciting. You're busy, busy woman. Thank you
hmm
so much for taking the time to interview with me. Shout out your social medias, your TikTok, your Instagram. Shout it out.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Daya Day Music, Daya Dai Music. And you can find me on any platform that you'd like, your favorite platform. I specifically use Apple and Spotify the most, but you're more than welcome to use whatever you want. And I am on Facebook, Daya Day. I don't use Snapchat, and I am on TikTok.
Okay, thank you so much.
Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out.